I am love.
I am love.
I am love.
I am love.
We are love.
I am love.
We are love.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Let Me Tell You. I am love. You are love. We are love. It is love month. It is Pride month. Hello and welcome. And no, as you can see by this empty chair next to me, I will not be by myself. I will welcome my good friend, Amanda. Please come in. Yay!
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hi.
How you been?
Being good. How are you?
Been-
Loving the rainbow. Loving
thank
the
you.
colors.
My flower do. Thank you.
Oh.
And Pride.
Yes.
And
Pride.
yeah. So we are here today to talk about
Pride.
Pride.
Hey.
It is the month of Pride. It is the month of love.
Yes, ma'am.
And we love everybody.
Everybody.
So I was going to do this by myself. I just kind of talk about different supports, support groups out there, different programs, things I've seen out there. But then Amanda decided she was going to come forth, tell us a little bit about her story.
Yes.
How she realized she was bisexual.
Let's go.
So, when did you first know?
Probably in elementary school, I knew that there was something different about me. I knew that I had similar feelings towards some of the girls I hung out with, and I had the crushes on the boys as well. So yeah, I started realizing in elementary school, but I didn't really come to terms with it or really feel comfortable talking about it or really comfortable talking about it with myself until about 6 or 7 years ago.
So that probably happens a lot. Maybe some of you out there, you probably know. It's your brain is pretty smart. It knows what to tell you, what you feel, but you may be uncomfortable talking about it. You may be uncomfortable coming to terms not only with yourself, but your family, your friends, and everything like that. So for you, family, friends, yourself, realization, when did that happen?
Self-realization probably happened 21, 22.
And how old are you now?
I am 29.
Okay.
So
For the audience.
I
she is.
am 29. So yeah, I think it was just more having to work through the guilt and work through like the self-shame that you would feel not only growing up in society where heterosexuality is the norm, but also growing somewhere where we live, where we're like smack dab in the Bible Belt. And like just having to go through like how you were raised as Southern Baptist and all that toxicity, and having to kind of have a self journey of knowing that your authentic self is nothing to be ashamed of, and that the people who love you are going to love you for you, and if they can't accept you, then that's not real love, and they don't need to be in your life anyway, no matter how hard that might seem or how hard it will be to cut those people out. Because sometimes that's like close family members, sometimes that's your best friends, and sometimes it is what it is, and it sucks, but
Yeah.
it's a lot better being free from all that guilt and shame and hiding than it is pleasing somebody that you've known for how many years of your life.
So, harder step for you to say it to yourself or say it to your family?
Say it to my family. Very easy to come out to my friends. They basically already knew. So,
Side quote though, Janelle had a moment with this. Let's discuss. Okay. Not that I'm against it, not that I am, I'm for everything and everyone. But I was confused. I was not educated as well on bisexuals, on why, how, who, what, when,
where.
Yes. All of those things. And so when she came out to me, it was actually kind of funny because I do believe you were drunk, and it was quite hilarious.
It was because we had a conversation about sexualities and bisexuals about, I don't know, 6 months before we were at
think
dinner.
so, yeah.
And you had said something that I was like, okay, not gonna tell her for a minute.
Let's take it back.
Yes.
So in my mind, basically, I couldn't understand to having sexual attraction to both genders. Almost felt like maybe, and yes, shame me if you will for saying this, it's fine, I understand, I've fixed the thought, so just bear with that. That it was almost greedy. But you got 2. Why do you get 2? I only get 1. That probably also had a lot into my own self issues of, dang, I can't even get 1 and you're sitting over here with a party of 1,000. But I just didn't understand how that worked, how your brain would think that. To which, after being friends with Amanda, being friends with more LGBTQ, all of you guys, I'm sorry if I offend with all the letters, just trying to remember them all. But after hanging out with more people, I have realized it's not necessarily just sexual attraction. It could just be attraction in any sense, form, way, shape. So you may appreciate this, but maybe not necessarily see a relationship, or you do see a relationship, or just, I was very narrow-minded in my terms of attraction. So it made it very hard for me to understand. Now that I have learned, now that I have been taught, have seen the different ways this can go, I get it. I get it now.
And I think that's great. I think you are a great example of how people can have misinformation and almost be ignorant in something that they don't understand, and teach themselves and learn by going through experiences and talking to people who have different experiences and opening your mind and realizing that your thought process was wrong, and then you fixed it.
Exactly. And guys, it's very hard for me to admit my thought process is wrong. I'm really bad about that. You can ask her. I'm very 1, 2, boom, done. Again, not that I never supported anything. I was always just confused and didn't understand. My thinking was misunderstood.
Yes.
So we fixed it, and it's great.
And I think there's also a difference that people need to realize, that there's a difference between ignorance and hate. Ignorance can come off as hate, and sometimes it is hate.
Yep.
Let's be real, sometimes it is hate. But a lot of times it really is just ignorance, and more likely than not, if you just sit down and talk to somebody and kind of get past your own anger towards them, which is justified, don't get me wrong, I have been in a few words with people who have said some words. We've all said words that I'm not allowed to say.
Words!
Because we're doing a family-friendly video right now.
Family-friendly.
Let's just say I threw a rock at a truck once, so I'm going to say.
Yikes, I didn't know about that.
Anyway, where were we? Okay, so.
Ignorance versus hate.
Ignorance versus hate. If you can kind of just get past your own anger towards a person who is ignorant and spouting on this, and really listen to them, and kind of process what they're saying, and kind of let it bounce off you back to them so they can process what they're saying, more likely not, they're gonna like really kind of understand what they're saying is hateful, and they're gonna take a step back and be like, do I really think like this? Because I've had that happen multiple times with people that I know and that I love, who I've just had a sit-down conversation with, and their thought process was completely different from mine. But instead of judging them, and instead of like letting their ignorance and hate get to me, I just kind of let it bounce off me back to them, so they knew what they were really saying and knew what they were really doing. Not just to me, but to everybody, because you know someone who's gay. I'm just gonna say that. You know someone who's gay, you know someone who's bi, you know someone who's trans, who's pan, who's queer, who's non-binary, who's asexual, demisexual. Like, we're everywhere. Like, you know someone who is like this.
Probably 1 in every 3. Probably less than that now, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's probably 50%, maybe
sexuality's a gray scale. Like, everyone lands somewhere. You're probably one. Like, you're a letter. So, you know.
Which one?
So, it's just, you know, really spreading education in the most positive way you can. And sometimes that's hard, and sometimes you can't do that because it's too much ignorance, too much hate, and you're going to need to take a step back for your own mental health, and that's okay. I think what really the community needs to learn is not necessarily, and what, you know, LGBTQAP+ is really...
Missed that one. Dang
really,
it. I knew I did.
Really hoping and really being great about now that I'm seeing is, instead of being hateful back towards somebody or being hateful back towards groups who don't understand, who are hateful, who are ignorant, but just like showing them love and peace and positivity and watching them change. Because you can't change everybody, but you can change at least one person.
So it's like the saying from when we were kids, more flies with honey. Legit. It is.
And it's hard, trust me.
It is hard on the daily. You especially nowadays, we see people saying these things, not just towards different identities, but races and sexes and just everybody. Everybody
and it can be very, very overwhelming.
It can. It's a lot. People are just kind of spewing everything, and
we're just two white women. I can't imagine. I just can't. Like I just can't imagine what it would be like to be Black or Asian or Hispanic or any other race but white, really, in this country.
Yeah.
Like it's
then especially a woman of any of those.
Yeah.
Even worse.
And then a queer woman of any of those.
Any of those, yes.
So.
Or a trans woman of any of those.
Yeah.
Damn, it's just racking up 1, 2, 10. This month too, I think, is about learning. You know, the people in the community, they know who they are. Some need help coming out. Some need support. We're here for that. But I think it's more for others to learn, to be like, this is who we are. This is how we feel. You don't have to necessarily participate. Just understand, like, accept this is us and move on. Like, you do you, I'll do me, you do you.
Yeah.
That's how things work. Also, I want to, correct me if I'm wrong, but if someone has questions, should they not ask?
They should ask someone who they are comfortable with and who they feel safe with. Because I think
don't go up to random strangers.
Yeah,
Let me put that out.
The main word there being safe, because there are some people that I know who came out to their parents and it wasn't safe for them because their parents were not the right people to come out with and have these questions for. And they end up getting kicked out of their house, or in worst cases, they get the crap beat out of them, or they get thrown in these Bible camps, these conversion
they do exist,
camps.
Guys. I know you may think you see them on movies, and they don't. They do.
They're real.
They're real.
They're real and they're awful. And so if you have questions, definitely seek somewhere who's safe, who is respectful. It could be a teacher, it could be your doctor, it could be someone in the queer community that you know, someone you work with, someone you go to school with.
I mean, heck, for the newer age, there are some people on TikTok who they literally do lives or ask you to comment on their videos. They pass by the hate comments, so I will say that, but they look for those with legitimate questions. There are some trans people on there who will answer trans questions, non-binary people, same thing.
There's also hotlines that you can find anywhere.
Hotlines. There's a butt ton of forums. What's that word?
There's a lot
forums online that you can ask questions. You probably can even ask them anonymously if you feel uncomfortable.
There's also a lot of free counseling out there nowadays, especially the first couple sessions you can find where you can have some free counseling sessions, especially if you're under 18.
Biggest thing is to feel comfortable being yourself and accepting you. And no, that's not easy sometimes. Heck, I say I'm not part of the community, but question, if I am attracted to men and trans men, does that make me part of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Personally, and all this is my opinion, my personal subjective,
Yes.
so, none of this
Personal
is...
experiences, personal opinions.
I feel that people shouldn't get caught up on labels so much.
True.
I identify as bisexual because it feels most correct to me. So when someone asks me, that's what I say. But I know that there's a debate among the community about bisexual and pansexual, and how bisexual means you're only attracted to two people, pansexual means you're attracted to everybody, and there's some bisexuals like, no, that means that we're still attracted to everybody. We're just like, this before pansexual came out, and people were being like, well, no, pansexual means this, bi means two, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, why does it matter?
So
I guess
basically
is my thing. It's not to invalidate someone, but I feel like the labels almost make it harder to be accepting and make it harder for us to come together as a community to really share what we know and to like teach people. It's hard to say because some people really take their identity seriously, so it's hard to be like, why does it matter? Well, it does matter to some people because their identity is really important to them.
Kind of like
but at the same time, you shouldn't be so caught up on labels that it's hindering you and the community and others, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I get it.
Because I know I have a friend who just came out as pansexual, and at first she thought she was bisexual, then she's like, well, pansexual feels more to me because I'm attracted to everybody. And so I had a conversation with her, I was like, I'm also, like, I would not personally mind if you were trans or non-binary or anything.
Yeah.
But I identify more as bisexual. So it's just kind of the weird.
Well, because almost like I would still say I fall into the straight category because even though, yes, I do find trans men attractive, yes, I would date a trans man. To me, they are men.
They're men.
They're men. I see them as men. I'm attracted to them as men. They are men.
Yes.
So in my mind, still straight because born man, trans to man. You're still a man.
See, that's where See, this is what I'm saying. Like, that's where it gets kind of like. When you delve too deep into like a label, it gets really muddled, it gets really confused, and you get lost in what the real thing is that it doesn't matter. I love who I love.
Love is love. Any particular advice you may have for someone? So we may have some younger crowd watching, and proud of you for watching, proud of you for seeing this and be like, I want to watch it. So advice you may have for that younger crowd.
I think what I would say to the younger crowd is just to remember to be authentic, that there's nothing wrong with you, that you are growing and learning, and there are going to be things you discover about yourself that are going to be shocking, that are going to be awesome, that are going to be not so awesome, and that you're still growing, you're learning, you're going to have all these experiences. And so don't be afraid to be your most authentic self, how you are now, and to find someone you really trust. And if you need to talk to that person, talk to that person. And just know that there's always going to be someone there for you, and you are loved, and that it's all going to be okay. That sometimes it does not feel like it's going to be okay. It's going to feel really overwhelming, and it's going to feel like the world is so heavy sometimes, especially with everything going on right now, coming out of the pandemic, survived the plague, everything opening back up, having a new president.
Yep.
That whole scenario that we are not going to go into. It's just, there's a lot of stuff that's happened the last 12 months. So we understand.
More than 12 months. It's been a little longer, right?
Yeah.
How long has this crap been going? Hot minute.
Time is an illusion.
40 years.
It's been 82 years.
What?
And I can still smell the fresh paint. If you're young and you're going through something, there's so many ways you can reach out. School counselors, big ones, school counselors, I would definitely recommend first.
Absolutely.
If you don't feel safe coming out to your parents. If you do, parents, definitely talk to your parents. You know your parents best and how they're going to take it. Parents, if you're watching this, saying is, you're not going to change your child. You're not going to change your sexuality no matter how much you try to speak tongues to them from the Bible, or try to throw the Bible at them, or you can't pray the gay away. Sorry.
It's it's kind of like when your mind is made up on something. That's mine made up. Mine
so just
feels decided.
Don't get me wrong. I can empathize and I can understand with a parent who has all these ideas for their kids.
Yeah.
You made them. You baked them in your tummy for 9 months. Like, I get it. you had expectations. And maybe them being some form of queer was not in your plan. But honestly, it does not matter, because what should really matter to you is if your child is happy and healthy and loved. And they're not going to feel that if you don't give that to them. And they're going to try to seek it out in other ways, and it's not always going to be the best ways. So I would recommend you, if you're having a hard time accepting your queer child, for you to seek counseling and you to seek therapy, because it helps.
I definitely think it would be okay if you feel the need to maybe grieve.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay. I mean, you had like she's saying, you had a certain set in your mind.
You gotta grieve it.
Sometimes you need to feel that pain, the sorrow, but then you walk through it, you talk through it, you bond with them, and you celebrate what you the
newness. Yeah.
The newness of what has become of your child, of y'all's relationship.
And I guarantee you will have a better relationship with your child, and you will see your child so much happier.
Absolutely.
Knowing that they are accepted. It's hard. I feel like some people skip over that, and I get it. I do. It's the parents aren't the victim when they do stupid stuff with their queer kids. Like, I completely get it. But I feel like there are some times where parents kind of get overlooked, or they automatically get placed in a villain role when they don't automatically accept their child. And we forget that parents are people too. And
they have emotions, feelings,
they have emotions,
the way they were raised.
And they have to do some spiritual work too.
Yeah. And
it's okay, you know? There's some choices they might make that is not okay, and that I do not recommend, that I do not support, that, you know, there are times where I look at you and I'm like, I could, family friendly. So
you know, change is difficult.
For a lot of people.
For a lot of people. I hate change.
I thrive.
I don't like it.
I thrive in change.
Yeah, see, no.
I change my hair every 3 months.
Well, I change my hair a lot too. But I have definitely come to realize love is easy to accept new change. And, you know, it just people in general, accepting them, understanding that you may think A, I may think B, but I still love you and you still love me, and it's great that we can do that.
I think that's the thing too, is that you don't have to necessarily understand all the ins and outs of something to accept it. You know, like you don't have
can
to
appreciate it.
Yeah, you don't have to understand exactly what it's like to be queer. You don't have to understand what it's like to be trans in order to accept the fact that that other person is doing what's best for them. Right. And doing what's most authentic for them, and accepting that and supporting that.
Right. Because
I'm never going to know exactly what it feels like to be trans, because I was born in the correct body. I feel like a woman. I am a woman. I identify as a woman. I was lucky enough, I was very fortunate enough to be born in the body that I feel comfortable with. And not everyone has that experience.
Right.
And so I'm never going to understand what it feels to be trapped inside a body that has the genitalia that I don't want.
I do feel trapped in a body with extra skin and fat that I don't want.
Truth.
Yeah,
I'm not going to invalidate a trans person and their experience and what they're feeling, all because I don't understand it.
Right.
And I'm not going to accept them because I don't understand it. You know?
Yeah.
So, and that's just the thing. Like, you don't have to completely understand in order to accept and love somebody.
Accept and love, that's the big thing. And
you know?
We talked about this a little bit with the last episode on mental health, you know, which goes a lot hand in hand sometimes with having queer identities, you know.
And everything.
It does. It goes with a lot. Hence why I did a whole episode on it. But, you know, I have anxiety and depression. You have?
Anxiety and depression.
Okay, but just because
ADHD.
Undiagnosed, but probably have that too.
It isn't mental health, but I also have PCOS and thyroid issues, and that helps contribute to my anxiety and depression.
We have the whole kit and caboodle. We all do. But, you know,
vitamin D levels, if they're low, also contribute to anxiety and depression. So take your vitamin D every day. I didn't know that. Had to have prescription vitamin D. Felt so much better. The sun is not my friend, so I never go out in the sun.
No, yeah.
So, you know.
But just because my anxiety and depression come out in one way or are triggered by certain things does not mean yours will be triggered or come out in the same way. And it is the same thing in this case. Just because I love somebody and I go for somebody in certain ways does not mean somebody else will. Or just because I feel a certain way does not mean somebody else will. But it does not mean
it's not valid.
That it's not valid, that I can't love you and I can't support you, because
Exactly.
I absolutely can do those things.
And with all of the knowledge that you are privy to these days, but just Google.
So much.
Like, just
Google it.
Like, educate yourself. Find real news sources. Fox News, not a real news source. They came out about how they're not a real news source. They're not real news. They said it themselves. Stop watching Fox News. They're the devil.
Check out information and facts and figures on both sides.
Don't believe every Facebook post.
Yeah, don't. No. That's kind of the biggest, that's the one downfall with the internet is read carefully. If it's like stick with .orgs, what are the other ones? .govs,
.edu.
Those are like government official educational sites. They are legitimate. And I'm not saying there are not some .coms, .nets out there that you cannot read from, because there are some good ones, but just be careful when reading, because not everything you see is true. There is some misinformation out there, so take it with a grain of salt. But overall, Google's pretty darn great in teaching you stuff that you may be afraid to ask. You may not have somebody to ask. So in today's world, I kind of almost don't understand how we have hate. I mean,
I ask myself this a lot. And that's where the overwhelmingness comes in. Because that's, again, the double-sided coin, right? It's like you have all this information, and you're able to get all this information out and have these communities and share with these communities and be a part of these communities that you would never be able to before, like 10, 20, like 5 years ago.
True.
Like our technology is so rapidly evolving right now. But it also is, like I said, like a double-edged sword. Right, double-edged sword. Yeah, double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Where the other edge is you're also opening this door for all this hate and negativity.
That is,
and
you are
ignorance
very correct.
to flow in, and so it can be a lot. Like, I have a lot of friends, myself included, I've had to take breaks from social media, because with all the good comes all the bad, and sometimes the bad is just too much.
I've thought about it, but I don't want to miss out on the puppies. There's so many puppies that flood my feed, guys. It's great. I love it. Any last few remarks to kind of wrap up our Pride video?
Just know, and I know this is so cliche to say, and it's been around forever, but it does get better. It truly does. And there is going to be a time where it is very, very hard. Like, it is unbearingly hard. But you can get through it. It can be done. You got this. You have all the support you need, fingertip length away. Like, you can do it. And if, like, I'm good, if you want to reach out to me, stranger, non-stranger,
right?
You
Comment
know me,
down below
don't know me.
If you need somebody, like I said in the mental health one, we're here. We're willing to reach out.
Yeah.
Or if
we know a lot of people.
We know a lot of people.
We know a lot of
we are
people
not
in the
acceptable
LGBTQ
enough to reach out
community.
to. We have someone we can get you to. If you feel uncomfortable, again, talk to a person. Forums, websites. There's something out there. Do not feel ashamed. Do not feel scared.
No.
I get you feeling scared and hesitant, but now's the time. We have a lot available to us to.
And there's a lot of people nowadays, a lot of kids, I should say nowadays, who are feeling a lot more free to be themselves, that I've noticed, because I've worked in childcare the last 7 years of my life, and just knowing the change of that. Like, I've had some kids who have told me that they don't feel like a he, even though he was a boy, or didn't feel like a she even though she was a girl, and like they're like, we think we're non-binary, or I'm more comfortable with this, you know. And I've become friends with a lot of the parents of the kids that I have watched over the years, and just to see how accepting they are and how their kids have come out to them at a very young age, or just talk to them.
Yeah.
You know, because it doesn't necessarily, if your kid is 11 and they're telling you that they think that they're a lesbian, more than likely, yeah, it's probably true. But it could also be they're just figuring out what they are.
Yeah.
You know, it's not exactly concrete, because just like gender, sexuality is fluid, and they do have room to change, because being 11, they're going to go through a bunch of changes in the next like 15 years of their life. And so that might not be the concrete identity they decide with later, but that doesn't mean that you get to invalidate what they're feeling at that moment. And that makes sense.
The word phase should be phased out.
Yes. Do not use phase.
Because
it is not a phase.
Although it may be a moment in time for them,
as an exploration,
it is still a valid moment in time for them that they feel these feelings.
I wouldn't say it's a phase, because a phase means that there's like a set beginning, set end.
But
it's
not.
More of an exploration.
Yes.
They are exploring themselves. They are figuring out themselves.
It's an ebb and flow.
Yes, it is an evolution.
Yeah. Yes.
It is
so
a
moment in time, because a moment in time can grow, can change, can evolve. So no phases.
No phases.
We take that word.
Nope. We throw it out.
But just know, parents, you know, kids, anybody out there, whatever you feel, whoever you are, whoever you identify as,
and whoever you love.
Whoever you love.
That's
We
valid.
love you too.
Yeah.
You are valid. You are all important people in this world. And we love you guys so, so much. And we just want you to love yourselves and love each other, because that's how we make it. That's how we succeed, is love and grow. Ta-da! Okay, so check out the Super Fuzz YouTube page where you find this video. There's more videos below. Check out the About page for our Super Fuzz merch. And there is some Let Me Tell You Where. Deck yourself out. It is multicolored. Probably could be wear for pride.
That's
just saying. Comment, like, subscribe. Share this with your friends. Share this with anybody who you think needs to hear this time of month, wants to hear this time of month. And remember, pride, although we celebrate it this month, is always and forever. And love is always and forever. And everybody is loved and worth love. We love you guys.
We love you so much.
Have a wonderful Pride Month.
Yes.
Again, comment down.
Enjoy yourself.
Yes.
Enjoy love.
Express.
Enjoy being authentic.
Be
that
you.
was really
Love
southern.
you. What?
Authentic.
Authentic. Love you. Be you.
Yes.
Because we love you and
We
want
love
you to
you.
be you. Have a good one, guys. Mwah.